Hello and welcome. If you don't know me, my name is Michelle Manette. I am a guitarist, a singer-songwriter, and an educator. And this is not the video I had planned to do for this week. And actually, I had decided this morning that I wasn't going to do one this week at all. And that's because I have been feeling really overwhelmed. Now, part of that is a product of all the things I have on my plate right now. And a lot of that is, I think, just kind of how I tend to operate when I have a lot of stuff on my mind or on the go, which is really all the time. So this sense of being overwhelmed it's almost like a default state for me. And for a lot of years, I really struggled to deal with that overwhelm. Generally, I would approach it in one of two ways. I would scramble and hustle and just try to get everything done and rush through, or I would just shut down completely and just not be able to do anything. Some of that would come from being burnt out because working really intensely burns me out. And I tend to burn out very easily. I have to be very mindful about the intensity of work and the amount of work, especially that I'm doing at any one time, because I will burn out very easily. But I have been getting better over the last several years as I've slowly been working toward doing fewer things at the same time and adjusting how I schedule my days. There are all sorts of changes I've made that have made a massive difference so that I'm not feeling quite as overwhelmed. But the last month, I've just felt so much pressure to get this stuff done because I have, fortunately, a lot of really great things that I'm working on and that I'm excited to get started on. And, that's ultimately a great problem to have. But what happens is I try to do too many things at once and I don't actually make a lot of progress. It kind of ends up being like that one episode of The Simpsons where Mr. Burns finds out that he has every illness known to humankind. And the only reason that none of them have taken him out is because they are kind of fighting one another. And so they can't get through. And the doctor uses this little example of like a little door and he has these little like germ figures and he's trying to push them all through the door and they can't get through. That's kind of what it's like trying to work on all of these things. Inevitably, I can't get much of anything done, or I do get things done, but it's at a much slower pace because I'm trying to work on, 5 or 6 different things in a day instead of just taking 2 or 3 of the most important things that I have to do. And this is something that I am learning how to navigate and I'm doing a much better job of, like I said. But what I've found this month is that every time I do step back and try to work on fewer things, I just feel this tremendous amount of pressure. And I think that's the worst part of it for me right now. It's this constant sense of urgency, like I have to get this stuff done now. And a phrase that has become this mantra for me that I keep repeating to myself is, I'm allowed to take my time. This phrase comes courtesy of the incredible Courtney Swain. It's made such a difference to have a phrase to help keep me anchored in really what is ultimately my own natural rhythm. I am somebody who tends to need to take more time. When I have something I need to do or something I need to get done, generally it takes more time than I originally estimate. And even though I know this about myself, I still am often wrestling with this expectation that I should be able to get things done within a certain amount of time. But the reality is I just need to go at a slower pace. This is something that is true on a micro level, so day to day within my day, how I move through different activities and different tasks, and also on a bigger scale too. I've spent a lot of my life feeling very behind, and in a lot of ways feeling like I've been left behind because my life doesn't look the way other people's lives look. This is true in so many areas of my life, and I'm feeling that especially right now with my music career. For a lot of reasons that I won't get into today, it's taking me a really long time to get to this point in my life where I'm actually able to show up and put myself out there and put my ideas out there. And so even as I've been working really hard for so many years to get to this place, it was always with this sense of needing to catch up. Not even to catch up, just to get to the starting line. And it's been all this extra added pressure on top of just, the challenges of life. And again, I've done so much work to address that, to become more and more comfortable with my life and my journey, whether that's musically or speaking on more of a personal level, just every facet of my life, just recognizing that there's nobody else in the world who is going to have my life experience. And ultimately, that's a good thing. But it's been this huge challenge just constantly comparing myself to how others seem to function or how their lives look. And of course, I know that, people are offering generally their highlight reel. And, I'm thankful for the people who are a little bit more transparent about some of the challenges. But ultimately, as Megan Watterson said in her book, Reveal, comparison is an unholy waste of time. And actually, that's another phrase I've been repeating to myself a lot. Whenever I'm feeling myself fall into that comparison trap, I just remind myself that it is a waste of time. I think it's wonderful to find inspiration from people, and I certainly do. But at the end of the day, this is my life. This is my music, my musical journey, my musical life. And an important part of being able to do my life justice and my music justice and my work in the world of music justice is to not only accept the rhythm at which I work, but to fully embrace that, I think. As much as I've been working on accepting the way I operate, I don't think I've ever fully embraced it and taken it on as a place to build from. I'm somebody who is very into schedules and routines and structure, systems, all of that. And that's been incredibly helpful to me to a degree. But for so much of my life, I came at it from a place of trying to fix my life, trying to make everything be nice and neat and clean, and then trying to force myself into that. And again, it's been shifting, but I'm having another moment of needing to evaluate what's actually working and what's not. And I do recognize that part of my overwhelm is just the fact that the systems I've been using they're either not incredibly effective for me or they are just incomplete. So I do know that there are some practical things that will really help me. But so much of this for me has been about just adopting this new, not even mindset. Mindset feels too flimsy of a word. It's like a way of being, especially again, relative to my career, because now I'm starting to put out videos and I'm starting to think in terms of how do I translate all of the stuff I've learned over the last several years into something that is going to help people. And so I have this added pressure I've given to myself to, try to put out something every week, which is a nice idea and is something I'd like to do, but that might just not be feasible for me. And so that's what I've been dealing with mostly is these pressures to get career stuff taken care of and get it taken care of now so that I can have all that pressure, all that stuff off my plate. But this is ultimately, it's a long game. I don't want to build a life from this place of hustle or grinding or anything like that. I want to build from a place that is more rooted in who I am. So whenever I've felt that urgency come up, just being able to say, I'm allowed to take my time. I'm allowed to take my time. It's changing how I'm showing up for the things I'm doing. So I'm giving myself more space to enjoy the stuff I'm working on, especially when I do my music block in the morning, to really savor each note that I sing and to really get into each note that I'm playing on guitar and to really just have a good time working on my original music. It's helping as well just to, it's almost like giving me permission to rearrange the things on my schedule, to say, I don't have to do this today. I'm allowed to take my time. I'm going to move this to tomorrow or to next week. And maybe it seems like such a little thing, like just this phrase, but it's what that phrase represents. It's about how it reminds me who I want to be. You know, not just the things that I do, but how I want to operate in the world. This is another thing I'm thinking about relative to this is, how do I move through my days? How do I engage with things? How do I exist in this world, in my body, in my mind? Just this reminder, I'm allowed to take my time. And to recognize that sometimes that is going to mean slow it down. And other times it's going to mean, actually, I can pick up the pace. I have, the capacity to go a little bit faster. And it's about being in conversation with myself so that I can adjust depending on my capacity. And right now I know that with it just being winter, I don't have the same amount of energy that I do in the spring and the summer. So I have to be mindful of that and really manage my expectations. And it's just brought me so much relief. You know, this is really just what I wanted to talk about. Again, I almost didn't do a video because I was just feeling like I had some other stuff I wanted to get taken care of. But then I thought, why not just talk about this? This is a part of my life right now, a big part of how I'm thinking relative to my life as a whole, and certainly my musical life and my career. I know that a big part of, the pressure I'm sure most of us feel about doing more, working faster, working all the time, that is, of course, going to be coming from societal expectations. But for me, so much of it was an internal game. It was like the call was coming from inside the house. You know, I can opt out regardless of what, the expectations are from other people or society at large or whatever. I don't have to go along with that. I can choose instead to work at my own natural pace and to build a life and a career that actually works for me and that's sustainable and that I enjoy too. I think that's been one of the biggest takeaways from the last couple of weeks is just how much more I feel like I'm enjoying my days and by extension my life, because, when I'm caught up in this place of feeling like I have to get all of this stuff done so I can get to some point of arrival that's really never going to come so that I can finally take a breath. This is my life happening right now. What makes me think that my life will be any different once I hit some point in the future when all of this stuff is done, which really it's never going to be done. That's just true for most people, is we always have something we could work on or we want to work on or we have to work on. That is just the way of it. So instead of feeling like I want to rush through this part of my life to get to some idyllic, improved part of my life, if I can choose how I want to be, not just for what my actions will bring me in the future, but for how I feel throughout my day, I think it's not only going to help set me up to carry that way of being into the future, but it also just makes my life more enjoyable now. And really, that's all any of us has is now. The past is over and the future is not guaranteed. But I have this moment right here to make a choice. And I think that's it. I think that's most of what I wanted to say. It's possible that this ends up becoming a blog post at a later date or something like that. But I figured I have this channel now, and part of what I'm trying to do is share not just the stuff that's going well, but the stuff I'm being challenged by. and share what's working. Because again, just that reminder, I'm allowed to take my time. It's making a really big difference. Let me know if this resonated or if there is a phrase that you're finding particularly helpful right now. And as always, if you are a guitarist, a singer, or a songwriter, and you are interested in personalized lessons that are tailored not just to the unique music that you want to make, but that are also designed to support you as a person working at whatever rhythm works for you, then please feel free to check out the link in the description to find out more about lessons. If you are a musician of any kind who is interested in having some guidance to help you build your ideal musical life, so again, really emphasizing the things that you want to do musically and also working with you as a person and working with your life as a whole to craft something that supports your music, your well-being, sustainability, and all of that. If you're interested in that kind of guidance, you are welcome to check out mentorship. I have, again, a link down in the description if that is something that resonates with you. Thank you so much for watching. Again, this is not what I had planned today, but I really appreciate having a place where I can just speak honestly about what I'm working on right now and really what I'm being challenged by. So thank you again for checking out this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.